I genuinely believe that you want to get lucky as much as possible and not count on you being smart.
Do these customers actually exist? Like, how do I validate my product and see if this actually works
Yeah,
for our customers? How did you do that for Spot
I
AI?
had $2,000 in my account. And so, one, I needed something which can start with very little capital.
What were the things you were looking for in your initial team when you were first hiring? Like your co-founder, like your initial engineers, how did you look for people?
Yeah, I think,
The following is a conversation with Rish Gupta. He is currently the founder of Spot AI, building AI powered camera systems, which has raised a total of $93 million in funding and has over 1,000 enterprise customers. Get ready for a mind bending episode. So, today I'm welcoming Rish Gupta to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. He
of
is
course.
the founder of Spot AI, which we'll get into a bit right now. I guess my first question for you is where did this start? How did you get into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, for me, it started at a very, very early age. I don't know when and how, but from a very early age, so like 8 or 9 years old, I was very inspired by other entrepreneurs or like just people who were doing their own thing. So
Yeah.
whether it was reading autobiographies or meeting any of my dad's friends who were doing their own thing and getting very enamored by them. So there was just general fixation. I probably didn't know that's what I wanted for myself, but there was general fixation to characters or individuals who were pursuing that path. And by the time I was 16 or 17, there was a general distaste for status quo or systems or established establishments, and there was a strong libertarian kind of desire to be more individualistic. So that kind of fueled entrepreneurship. The first couple of companies, so I grew up in Delhi in India. The first couple of companies I did was in college with friends. Very similar to what I think most students who are entrepreneurial in college end up starting some version of the same company, some kind of ads on for on newspapers for students and stuff like that.
Mm.
So did that. Did two businesses. One of them was extremely unsuccessful. One of them was slightly successful. And then coming out of undergrad, I ended up starting a company in India called Let's Intern, which was built on the desire that we saw that I had a lot of opportunities growing up thanks to my parents, and they were fairly well connected. But a lot of students in my college didn't. And we wanted to build a platform which connect companies to students. And we were like, so many students don't get the same opportunity, and they are hungry for it because they would always ask us, how did you get this opportunity, or how do you get introduced to this so and so company? So we built that, made it India's largest platform for connecting colleges and students, grew to about 4 million users, sold it. Yeah, and then moved to the US as everything I was building. The first company I was reading about how to build it was coming from San Francisco, YC, Paul Graham blogs, and entrepreneurs, the early entrepreneurs here from Box, Dropbox, all the good stuff. So yeah, I ended up moving here in 2015, been here ever since, and then yeah, doing my second company, Spot AI.
Fascinating. Okay, so you had some pretty early successes, I would say. In college, the Let's Intern platform, is that an online platform?
It is an online platform, but I don't know if it's still any longer exists. It got acquired in
Mm.
2015, and then I think the company which acquired it ran it for about 5 or 6 years, then merged it into something else.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
still, that's a pretty big success at such a young age. I mean, what exactly led you to starting that, and what were your main learnings from that experience?
it's a good question. The what led us to start was you at that age I had $2,000 in my account, and so one, I needed something which can start with very little capital. Uh,
Hmm.
the venture capital ecosystem in India at that point was non-existent, or was not had not really taken off at the seed stage or the pre-seed stage. So the idea that, oh, I could go raise millions of dollars to fund into my first company wasn't obvious. So like, okay, I have $2,000. That's the amount. That's my startup capital. I have to kind of figure out something to start in that. So it automatically limits you to, I need to start something which is incredibly small, and I know the user, so I don't have to market to them. I was just out of college. I knew a bunch of the college students. I could easily go and promote it to my friends. I knew where they hung out. I could go talk to them. And B, I knew the problem really, really well because it was all the problem my friends were facing when we were in college. So it just felt very familiar, cheap to start with. And we didn't really start with thinking it's going to be something really big. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, this is good enough idea to start with. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to iterate into something different. And
Hmm.
then it kept working out. And then the more it worked out, The my first year goal was I looked at my peers who were coming out of undergrad and like what were they earning as salary in year one. And I'm like, if my company can make more money than they earn, then I'm on a success path.
Hmm.
And that felt pretty hard thing to do or pull off. I like, oh, I have probably a low probability, and we pulled it off. And then we're like, oh, cool. Next year, let's set a higher goal. And so yeah, we kept setting goals and kept going for it. We didn't really have a large devious plan of like, oh, this is what's going to become. If that makes sense. We're kind of having fun along
Yeah.
the journey. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at that young age, a lot of it probably must have been being young and hungry, not really necessarily having the field expertise or years of knowledge.
yeah,
But yeah, I guess pivoting now into what you're doing right now with Spot AI, I guess kind of for those who don't know, can you break down what Spot AI does and its
yeah.
mission?
So we do video intelligence for cameras for businesses. So what that means is US enterprises have about 100 million cameras, security cameras deployed on them. We deploy AI agents on those cameras to help with security and operations for enterprises. So imagine you're a massive retail store or a construction site or any kind of a critical infrastructure which has security issues, and you want to make sure that people are not destroying your property, are not vandalizing, are not jumping fences, are not stealing anything from your property. So the AI on these cameras watches for nefarious activities, automatically creates actions, and helps reduce crime and helps keep these properties safe. On the other hand, inside the stores, whether it's retail, manufacturing, there's a set of safety and operations procedures that people need to follow, the workers need to follow to make sure that uh, they are safe, they're doing the job the best way possible. And today, like all the digital workers have some form of tool. So you might use Chat GPT to research on someone, or format something, or you might use Canva to draw something, and so on and so forth. There's so many tools available for lawyers and knowledge workers. There's very few AI tools available which can look into the physical world and be a worker's AI tool. Like, how did I perform on my shift? What are the things I could improve, or where did I not follow the safety? So this AI tool helps workers and people on the actual shift workers to have an AI tool which works alongside them.
Yeah. I mean, how did you discover this problem? What led you? I mean, that's a pretty big pivot from what you were working on
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah. The two things. One motivation is I genuinely believe this is that you you want to get lucky as much as possible, and not count on you being smart. And you increase the surface area of luck by two things. One, in being extreme in zones where a lot of things are changing. Because when lots of things are changing, there's no expertise from the past era which can come and win, because the variables are changing, the game is changing. So somebody inexperienced from outside can come and make a big impact. And B, you can try a bunch of new things because nobody knows what's happening. And you want to go when change happens, normally something new comes up and it increases really fast, like how ChatGPT kind of really took off, or mobile phones really took off. So one of the things that led me to Spot AI was this general thesis that in my first business, as we were kids and kind of we're trading on different versions of the business, one of the things that really helped us was in 2010 in India, the internet penetration was incredibly low. That was because an average personal computer cost $1,000 and average household income is much lower than that. But 2012 was a big explosion of Android phones and cheap data plans, which suddenly meant there was a 10x increase in the internet users in the country, which
Mhm.
meant we being a platform which had launched before that and being a dominant place suddenly made us grow from hundreds of thousands of users to millions of users without spending any extra marketing dollars. So we got really, really lucky. So I wanted to get lucky again, and it's like, okay, what's something that's changing quite a lot? And to us, what was changing was this confluence of hardware and software. We're like, okay, chips are getting better and better. Edge computing is getting better and better. That means chips are going to get embedded in more and more things, and those chips will get stronger and stronger to do more things. So how can we? So how can I play at at the intersection of hardware and software? That curiosity led me to join a company for a bit called Samsara, which built products for truckers and logistics industry. One of the products we built was a dash cam, which looks into a truck cabin and keeps truck drivers safe on a highways.
Mm. Okay.
But that video, it's based on video, and that product line grew really fast, and it was this fascinating thing to understand. Oh, if illuminating a small part of logistics, just giving video access to it and helping workers be more safe can produce so much value. Imagine if we could do that at a more massive scale on the shop floors and actual manufacturing floors. So there's this confluence of technology and customer curiosity and lots of change happening in this industry that kind of led me to this. So yeah, completely unrelated topics. There is a common theme, which is I'm normally attracted to when you can take technology outside of the core pockets, like outside of Silicon Valley or outside the cities, and actually take it to a much broader segment. The first company was doing that to students and like opportunities, and this was more about how do we take technology to workers and people who work kind of more industrial manual jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like you are kind of going into very like untapped markets. And I think one of the biggest challenges with that is figuring out, do these customers actually exist? Like, how do I validate my product and see if this actually works
Yeah.
for our customers? How did you do that for Spot AI?
So Spot AI, the way we did it was we made a list of companies we thought could use our product. And then we looked across our college network. So I did my grad school at Stanford. So I went through our network of classmates and alumni and be like, who's working in these industries? And then we reached out to them and said, hey, we're building this. Would you be open to trying this out as a free trial and just give us your feedback? And then those got us through the door. And then people tried our product and some of them were like, yeah, this is great. It's like, oh, if it's great, here's the pricing packaging for the product. And we started slowly testing pricing and packaging and got through our first 5 or 10 customers. But
Mm.
I think in general, it really helps if you can get the first set of customers through your networks. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So, I mean, what were your initial challenges other than that, I guess, for starting the business?
Oof. I mean, in this specific case, we had underestimated how difficult the underlying technology problem is because we wanted to build a common video software which can work across any cameras. What we didn't realize at that point were there are 1,000 different brands of IP cameras deployed across these businesses. They all follow they all use the same protocol for streaming, but they have different configurations, different pixel rates, different ratios, a bunch of kind of small differences. And to standardize all of that and make it seamless for the end user, we thought would be an easy problem because they all followed the same protocol, but took us about 2 years to get that right. We had a lot of
Oh, wow.
pain in the first 2 years of like setting things up, things not working, customers being unhappy, we not being able to deliver a promise, and then yeah,
Mm.
there
So
was
you
there was
said,
a hard technical challenge to be solved in this case.
yeah. I mean, you said that it's a chip, but it's also software. So are you building a model or like
Yeah,
what does it go? Yeah.
so what we do is we deploy we're camera agnostic, so we can work with any security cameras deployed at these businesses, but we ship an edge AI box, which has GPUs inbuilt, to be deployed at that business, at the local network.
Mhm.
So that's what's combining all the camera streams into one place and processing these video streams for all the AI, reasoning and inferences. We don't build our own models. We use existing models, but because we have a lot of video data, we fine-tune the models with billions of minutes
Mm.
of video data that we have.
Okay, cool. So what are the inferences that your models make? Like what's the end result that your user sees?
So yeah, as I said, like anything which can help the properties be safe and secure. So if you want to understand if people are vandalizing your property or loitering around your property or jumping a fence into your property, or people are doing more sophisticated crimes on your retail parking lots like catalytic converter theft or copper theft
Mhm.
from critical infrastructure like cell
Oh,
towers
wow.
and more.
Okay.
Or there could be very specific markers of security which might be specific to your business. So just like a human can watch a video and understand what's happening, now AI agents can. So that's what the AI agents do. And then typically the first few step of actions when you see a security problem is to shut down the doors or start a flashlight or issue a warning saying this property is under surveillance, etc. Or loop in a human which is going to talk to the person on site saying, hey, person in a blue shirt, please leave the property. You're under watch. All of those things now AI can do. AI
Mhm.
can talk in a very realistic way to the person on the property, make sure it gives them escalating deterrences and responses, and can automatically lock doors, can automatically start flashlights and strobe lights and direct them to the person, and so on and so forth. So overall, it keeps on the security side and the operations side. If you, let's say, have a retail store and you have a specific way that in the opening hour the worker should come do these 10 things to make sure the store is ready for customers, and in the closing hours, these are the 10-step process you should follow to close the store properly. In the middle of the day, you should make sure that these aisles are being cleaned every 2 hours, or the workers need to do XYZ process when a customer comes to the counter. I
Okay.
can actually monitor all of these and then give the reports to the workers if they have been following that, if they need to make some improvements, where are the biggest places for improvement, or if there are safety protocols to be followed to make sure people don't slip and fall, or people have to wear a safety hat in certain cases. And yeah, so it helps understand all of that and then give that information to the operations team.
Yeah. So I guess more on the business side, when you were first starting your company, what I guess were the things you were looking for in your initial team when you were first hiring? I know that's one of the biggest things in starting a company, like your co-founder, like your initial engineers, things like that. How did you look for people?
Yeah, I think there are multiple ways you can go about it. The thing that has seemed to work for me the most is looking for three characteristics in people. You want people who are really, really high intellectual horsepower, and normally I judge them by can they engage conversations across multiple dimensions.
Hmm.
Because in a startup early on, you have to wear multiple hats. You could be doing engineering, but you might have to jump on a sales support call. You might have to, understand the sales dynamic because there is no specific departments, and you're stretching across to do a lot of things. The second is, do they have extreme passion in their personal space about things? Because if they're not passionate about anything in their personal life, it's going to be very difficult for them to be passionate about customers or users or what we.
Mm.
They have to be driven, passionate people. And the third thing you look for is, are the people who have a chip on their shoulder? Like, do they have something very inherently strong to prove for themselves? Like something in the childhood, something about their upbringing, something about their early life makes them feel that they haven't been given a fair chance to their full potential, and they're raring to go, and they're just looking for an opportunity to prove to themselves they can do better. And they're going to just use your company as a vehicle to do that. But as they do that, they perform really well and they do great things for the company as well, and they have a great time. Uh, so those are three characteristics I look for, and the skills are fine. Like you want people to be really good skilled. The skill levels normally I test is not only can you do your job, but can you do your job in a way, and are you the kind of person who will attract the next best talent as well? Like one is, can you just do your job? But if the next engineer or the next salesperson comes and talks to you, do they get excited and want to join the company?
I see. That's unique. Yeah, that's I've never heard that before. I've definitely heard the chip on your shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Silicon Valley, like that's a very core thing. But yeah, that last thing you said was pretty unique. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I
Yeah.
guess do you have any last message for our audience? Kind
Yeah.
of any lessons that you've learned?
Yeah. And then if your audience skews younger in the 20s, then I would just say, like, especially early 20s, like just um just do things. Like you can tend to overthink or think you're too, yeah, you can overthink too many things and not act. I think action normally creates a lot more pathways and just connects you to a lot more right people. So just act. Normally that
Mhm.
solves everything.
Yeah, I think that's the best piece of advice I've heard. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to our
Awesome.
audience. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.